Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and I want to talk to you today about the difference between 3 meals a day and 6 meals a day. You know, when you eat 3 meals a day, you have breakfast, and then you have nothing till lunch, and then you have lunch and nothing till supper, and then supper, nothing till bed or breakfast the next morning. In between breakfast and lunch, you burn fat. In between lunch and supper, you burn fat. And then from supper all the way to breakfast, you break the fast with breakfast. So the body becomes a really good fat burner. Fat is calm fuel, stable fuel, non-emergency fuel, helps you sleep through the night fuel. When you have 6 meals a day, you have a tendency to have a meal and then a snack and then a meal. So if you have a meal and then a carrot and then another meal, then in between those meals, you burn the carrot. If you have lunch and then an apple or some nuts as a snack in the afternoon, and then supper, in between lunch and supper, you burn the apple. It's not terrible. Apple and nuts and carrots are great snacks, but you didn't burn your fat that day. So the goal for us, particularly in our culture, we're being bombarded with sugars and carbohydrates, which spike the blood sugar. It's such an amazing time where our blood sugars are so fragile. I mean, diabetes is epidemic. Pre-diabetes is affecting over a third of the American population. 90% of the people who have pre-diabetes today as we speak don't even know it, according to the CDC. So these are really big issues, just to make sure that we get back to a regular way of life. Now, the people who promote the 6 meal a day plan say that when you eat little meals all day long, meal, snack, meal, snack, meal, snack, you increase metabolism, you increase thermogenesis, you lose weight better. Well, in the article associated with this video, I cite the research that really disputes that. There really is no thermogenesis. There is no increased metabolism that supports weight loss. It really doesn't happen. They say that you'll have less appetite if you eat little meals throughout the day. Well, that was disputed by the American Dietary Association, who said that oftentimes what happens is people have the tendency to overeat 6 times a day, which is the last thing that we want to do. Plus, gosh, you know, eating 3 good meals a day, relaxing, taking time, boy, that's enough of a hassle to think about that. To have to think about 6 meals a day, I feel like that's overwhelming. You know, and the other piece of the puzzle with eating 6 meals a day is that, they say, is it balances your blood sugar, so you don't have the highs and lows. Now, this is true. If you look in the textbooks of medicine, you'll see that if you have hypoglycemia, that you will be recommended to eat, instead of having big, huge spikes in blood sugar, high and low. That's what hypoglycemia is, when the blood sugar goes up from a cup of coffee and then crashes and you can't open your eyes and you need another cup of coffee or Coke or chocolate or candy. That's hypoglycemia, the highs and the lows of the blood sugar. Eating 6 meals a day will give you little tiny meals all day long, so you never actually run the risk of actually crashing, because you're feeding yourself every 2 to 3 hours. So that works great for hypoglycemia, but we have diagnosed America as hypoglycemic and telling everybody to eat 6 meals a day. And the problem with that is when you eat 6 meals a day, the body becomes conditioned to getting fed every 2 to 3 hours. And when you get fed every 2 to 3 hours, God forbid you miss a meal, you crash and burn, and you're all of a sudden exhausted, you can't handle the stress, your mood is up and down. And what's worse is you find that I have a lot of patients that come to me and they say, boy, I was hypoglycemic, I was depressed and anxious, I went on the 6 meal a day plan, I felt better. But then I started noticing that I was hungry all the time. I used to be hungry, you know, just a couple or 3 times a day, but now I'm always hungry. And my problems, which when my blood sugar was really high and low, and I got 6 meals a day, it felt a little bit better, but now I started to feel, after about 4 to 6 months, even more fragile. My blood sugar became more unstable. My moods became more unstable. So I think short term, it's a great medicine, but long term, it's not a way of life. Never has been. You know, hunter-gatherers didn't eat 6 meals a day. Go in the woods and walk around for a day or 2 and come back and just tell me how many meals that you ate. It's not possible to get 6 meals a day when we're walking from nature. It was feast or famine. We had the ability to make energy last. And because we have food all over, all the time, food in every corner, we've lost that ability to be a good fat burner, and we've got to get it back, because diabetes is epidemic, and it's affecting so many of us that we don't even realize it. So it's really critically important. And there's been studies that show that when you eat 6 meals a day, it tends to create insulin spikes, which is dangerous, because if you do it enough, the insulin levels stay high enough, and then the sugar in your blood is being driven into your cells, and your cells eventually say, I can't take any more sugar. It's like when you eat too much chocolate or too much candy, you're like, I can't even look at another piece of licorice. It's that way in your cells, and the cells become resistant. And now you have blood sugar issues because the blood sugar builds up in your bloodstream, and that's the pre-diabetic or diabetic condition. We don't want to let that happen. So please, think about the difference between 3 and 6 meals a day. Make 3 meals count. Read the article associated with this video where I tell you all about the research and more details about this very important concept of having 3 good, healthy meals per day. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.